Hey guys, how's it going? Today's video is about what is the purpose of relationships. It could be romantic relationships, relationships with friends, family, your children, and really they're all doing the same thing. They all are trying to introduce you to yourself and what you are as a person and as a spirit. So if you're constantly in a lot of difficult relationships, it's time to take a look at that and say, hey, what is this relationship telling me about myself that I need to either work on or change so I can attract something different? You know, you see lots of people in the same relationships over and over again. Maybe they're in a relationship where they're constantly getting walked all over and the other person is sort of dominating them. And that could be a signal to that person that, hey, I need to work on my self-worth and my self-esteem, and that I'm worth something and that I need to be respected. As soon as I start dealing with that, then I probably will either cause a change in that other person, or I will break up with that person and move on to somebody who treats me the way that I should be treated as a respectable, lovable person. I think about relationships that I was in where I was like attracting these really like strong personality guys, and I was sort of seeking external strength because I had a lot of tumultuous stuff going on in my lifetime, and I was dealing with some family issues and the death in the family, and I was looking outside of myself for strength, and that person actually kept failing me over and over again. And what that was telling me is that I needed to find the strength within myself, that it's not going to come from an external source. And as soon as I was able to sort of change that perspective in myself and find my strength internally, I was able to attract a better person who wasn't going to sort of fail me in that, because I didn't even realize I was putting that pressure on that person when really it was something I should have been getting, from myself. And a lot of times when you get into relationships and you break up, the first thing you want to do is jump back into another one. And a good thing to do is to stop for a second, do a post-mortem on what just occurred, think about what that relationship was telling you about yourself, and from there, make a decision to maybe actively work on some issues that you might have, to build yourself up. Because if you're coming into a relationship as a whole person, you're going to attract a whole person, somebody who isn't broken down and gonna show you, they're looking to have someone expose their flaws, and you're gonna keep attracting people like that until you shore up yourself and you find your own inner strength and your own inner security and your own self-worth, that you're not looking external for validation, for love, for all these things. People can provide those types of feelings to you, but you first have to have them within yourself, or else they're just trying to fill a void that's impossible to fill, because it's going to be a never-ending void. So once you have that and you're resonating that out, you will no longer feel the need to suck in that energy or that strength from somebody else, and then you're going to attract a better person who is going to be a better partner for you in life and cause less strife. So other times, like, people are really insecure. If you have insecurities, you're probably going to attract somebody who's going to maybe cheat on you or I guess exemplify those insecurities. And so you will be forced to face them and either realize that you are worth something and you don't need to constantly distrust other people, and that you can trust other people. And until you settle that within yourself, then you probably will keep attracting relationships where maybe you're getting cheated on or somebody's taking advantage of you. So it's really about developing yourself as a person, loving yourself first, and then being able to give that love out, and not just constantly trying to have someone give you love and you become some bottomless pit for that. Friendships, I see a lot of people in like gossipy friendships, judgmental things going on. And if you have friendships like that, you should think about what that's telling you. It's probably telling you that you have a judgmental perspective that needs to be addressed. Maybe as a child you were told that you had to look a certain way or to act a certain way to be accepted and to be loved. And until you heal the parts of you that believe that, and you say, hey, I am lovable exactly as I am. Everyone is lovable exactly as they are. They are accepted exactly as they are. And until you do that, you might attract these friendships that are judgmental, gossipy, and things like that. So think about what those relationships are telling you, and how that can be a good mirror for you, and it's okay. We can do the self-reflection. And what happens sometimes is life will first tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, I think you need to work on this. Then if you don't work on it, it's going to push you and say, hey, wake up, you better work on this. And then if you don't do that, then it's going to whack you over the head with a 2x4 and say, hey, now you really got a problem. Like, are you going to look at this yet? And so that's going to keep happening over and over again. And that's why people tend to get to the 2x4 stage and they're freaking out and they're really upset, because that's almost like, trying to shake you out of whatever philosophy that you have in your mind or paradigm you have in your mind to change you, to help you do that work to change you. So hopefully you can start to pay attention when it's just a tap on the shoulder and start looking at things as a learning experience and what is that situation telling you, and that way you'll prevent getting hit by a 2x4. No, I've already gotten hit by many 2x4s, so I know that's not a fun way to proceed in life, but it can be effective if you're not listening. So society, another example is like if you're sort of an angry person and you're constantly getting into confrontations when you go out, you have road rage, you get in altercations at the supermarket. Clearly there's something going on there that you should take a look at. Not everybody is getting into altercations every day. Maybe you have a philosophy of life that's adversarial, that everybody's out to get you for one reason or the other. And if you have that philosophy, then you are going to attract these situations to show you that and keep showing you that until you take a look at it. Or maybe you have some insecurities as a child where you weren't respected, or you were not the popular kid, or you were overweight or something, and that people didn't respect you. So now you're like, well, everyone has to respect me or I'm going to freak out. That's something that's maybe showing you, hey, I am a respected person just by the nature of who I am. I don't need someone else to validate that for me. I respect myself, and everyone else is doing their thing, and that's fine. I had someone tell me a story where they got into this altercation at a grocery store where they came out to their car and someone had sort of pushed a shopping cart very close to their car. I think it might have been touching their car, so they thought it had banged their car a little bit. It didn't. But then he, approached the guy and was like, hey, that was a bad decision. You just ran the shopping cart into my car. And because he came with that really adversarial energy, that other guy was like, oh, you want to fight? And this guy was like, the one guy was 60 some years old, and the other guy was a young guy. So it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna fight some 60-year-old in the parking lot of a grocery store? So anyway, the guy goes into the grocery store, and this person's telling me that he was trying to calm down, but he kept thinking that he just wanted to put the grocery cart on top of that guy's car. And I was like, oh my gosh, if that's not the world trying to tell you something, I don't know what is. Because if you have those types of feelings, you need to start thinking about why you're having such an extreme reaction to these small scenarios. Other people are not having this, some people are, but hopefully most people aren't, because that is sort of an issue you need to take a look at and figure out, what's the source of this? How can I shore up myself so that I don't have this experience? Because this experience is not fun. It's not fun to get into these altercations all the time. And you're creating sort of a lifestyle with you where you're bringing all this negativity into your life. So it's just the world trying to tell you something and be the mirror for you. And if you don't see what's in the mirror, it's just going to keep being shown to you over and over again, stronger and stronger. So you can do a lot of the self-reflection, and that's why meditation, or, if you have an incident occur, doing some reflection on that to figure out how you can learn and grow and better respond in the future. You can kind of take a shortcut and maybe not have to have as harsh of interactions with some people. And that, can improve your life dramatically. It's improved mine, having that sort of reflective attitude and learning attitude, oh, that was a curious thing to happen. Why did that happen? Why did that elicit this emotion in me? And when you come at it from that perspective, then there's an opening for change. There's an opening for thinking about another way of approaching something and another way of being. And once you start tapping into that, your relationships actually get easier, better, more enjoyable, because you're not having these sort of negative interactions to show you everything, because you're doing that self-reflection proactively. Kids are another huge mirror. They're basically a direct mirror. You say something and then your kid will say that exact same thing and you're like, oh my God, that was a really jerky thing to say. Oh wait, I just said that. And then they just repeated it after me. Or one time I swatted my dog in the butt for doing something, and then my daughter walks over and hits my dog on the butt and says the same thing I just said, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to be the person who hits my dog on the butt. And I just, saw it directly happen in front of me, exactly what I was doing, and I didn't like it, right? I didn't like it. So kids are a very direct feedback mechanism to the extreme. And if you have children, you know this. And you see this as it goes on, because it will bring up things in you that you didn't even realize you needed to work on. If you were a patient person, kids will test that to the extreme. So all of these situations, every relationship, romantic or otherwise, is a way of learning, about yourself. And for romantic relationships, people, obviously this is a huge learning tool for us and elicits a lot of emotions. But, you'll stop attracting the wrong people when you heal the part of yourself that once needed them. So if you have a need to learn something and you heal that, right, you will stop attracting that type of person in the future. And, then you'll get to sort of move on from that paradigm into a new one, hopefully better one, as you move through these different learning experiences. So there is a purpose to relationships. It's all about the inner work in the end. It's wonderful to have relationships. I think that, there's a lot of beautiful things that can come out of relationships as well. But obviously they're a huge tool for learning. And if you think about them in the right light, you can create relationships that are very positive. And when you have a relationship that's largely positive, but then you have some sort of negative thing occur or seemingly negative thing occur, take a look at that and say, all right, okay, what do I need to do? What internal work do I need to do? Is there some sort of deep-rooted thing that happened to me in my childhood that's being brought up through this situation? I don't even know it. I don't even know that I'm sort of stuck in that. Excuse me. I remember one guy I dated, I was having some talk with him and I was annoyed at him about something. And he looks at me and he goes, listen, I'm not your father and I'm not your ex-boyfriend, so stop treating me like them. And I just realized immediately, he's like, oh my gosh, I was putting him in that same box as things that had happened before, and he wasn't that. But I was allowing, my previous experiences to come with me into this and to color what's going on in not a positive way. And I had to take a look at that and say, hey, he is a different person and he's not doing these things. I'm seeing it through this colored lens of what's happened to me in the past. So, that sort of woke me up, him just even saying that. And he was a very balanced person. So I was lucky to have a relationship with him to show me a lot of these things. So be your own mirror when you can. And if you can't, take a look at the situation and try to learn from them. And eventually you will start attracting better and better people into your life, lovers, friends, everything. And it'll be fun. It's fun. Life is good. Talk to you guys later.